It's been definitely a very tough decision for me because, as I mentioned earlier, I took a lot of pride in playing for the country, and I think I got an opportunity to do something to the country through cricket. I always listen to my inner conscience and listen to my voice inside, and that is probably the reason why I actually also played cricket as a career, or took cricket as a career, because I always wanted to become a doctor. At the age of 17, my inner voice said that I want to become a cricketer, which was definitely a tougher career path, and common sense says that you prefer medicine over cricket because it's definitely a gamble as a career path. But I listened to my inner voice, and I feel that inner voice is a divine voice. And throughout my career, I've always done that. Throughout my career, I've listened to my inner voice, what my conscience feels is right for me to do. And there was definitely a lot of debate internally over the last 4 or 5 days since the time this thought has come. I always gave a lot of importance to the team's need and team's requirement and the country's future. And I always played the game over the last 16 years only with the sole purpose that the country comes ahead of my personal aspirations. And I felt that while my personal aspiration is definitely to do well against, especially against the teams like England and Australia, for the sole reason that we didn't do well against them last year, and that was a drive, that was a motivation for me to be a part of the team which achieved success against them in India. But I felt that it's the right time for me to move on so that an opportunity can be given to a youngster to play in the home conditions. I think it's very important that the youngsters should get an opportunity to play in the home condition, especially keeping in view and keeping in mind the overseas tours next year. It was a very tough decision, and that is why late until last night I was not able to really make up my mind, because it's an opportunity for me to definitely continue play cricket, and I've really worked hard. If you say, if you ask about my fitness, if you ask at my desire, I've really worked hard over the last 3.5 months. But I think I'm listening to my inner voice, and I think that is very important, and I feel really satisfied that I have left the game with the same ideals like the way I've actually played my game throughout my career. That is always respect and think and give more importance to the team's need than actually my personal aspiration. That is why, but I'm really thankful to the Almighty that He gave me an opportunity to make the right decision.
Laxman, just to follow up on Das' question, we obviously respect your inner voice, but this is probably the first time someone who's been selected for the entire series is saying it's quits. Did you let the selectors know about this?
In fact, I communicated to the selectors only this morning. I communicated to the chairman of selection committee this morning and communicated to the board this morning that I'm not going to continue playing cricket and hang my boots. So they were communicated this morning. Yeah, that's what I meant. I would call it a day with immediate effect.
अब तक आपके परिवार ने आपका पूरा साथ दिया है, लेकिन क्या इस फैसले में आपका परिवार का भी साथ है? क्योंकि सभी भावुक हैं, यहाँ पर जितने लोग हैं सभी के आंखें नम हैं और आपके परिवार की खासकर.
Yeah, it is definitely an emotional moment, for everyone. Not only leave alone my family, but the entire cricket fraternity. It's really heartening and very emotional for me to read and get read the number of messages I got since the time people came to know that I'm announcing my retirement. So obviously there are a lot of people who didn't want me to retire, and there are a lot of people who would have loved me to continue playing. But luckily for me, my family has always supported me. As I mentioned, it was a very tough decision. The only thing my parents told me was follow your inner voice. You know, that's the whole reason I started playing cricket. As I mentioned in my press note, that my parents gave me the independence and freedom to choose cricket as a career, because my parents respected my inner voice and they gave me the freedom. So they told, you played the entire career listening to your conscience and your inner voice, and it should not be anything different, even though they would have all loved me to continue play cricket.
VVS, there's always that moment where a sportsman, when he says that it's fit, what is that based on? Also, how much did England, Australia contribute? And the fact that there were reports that, talk in the media, talk around the cricketing fraternity that maybe a youngster could come in.
It was 4 or 5 days back actually that I experienced this. And as I mentioned before, that I've always read and heard eminent sports persons saying that there will be an internal dialogue or an internal feeling when you should end your career. And that probably happened to me 4 or 5 days back. And there was definitely an internal mental battle. And saying that whether I play for my own personal aspirations or whether I think about the growth of Indian cricket. And keeping in mind the way I played my entire career, the way I played the game throughout my career, I always felt that I listen to my inner conscience, and my inner conscience says that the team is more important than my natural and my personal aspirations. So that was the toughest 3 or 4 days in my career, if I may say. But I'm very contented, I'm very happy that I made the right decision. And answering your other question, which is about the England and the Australia series, definitely it was very disappointing the way the team performed in England and Australia. It was very disappointing, and no cricketer would want your country to actually lose in such a fashion. But saying that it's part and parcel of international cricket. There have been times when we actually went to Australia and done well. We went to England and have done well. And I'm sure that the team will bounce back. And they've got an ideal opportunity to do that against the same opponents this winter. And I wish the team all the very best.
But Laxman, you were selected for this series by the selection committee. They put some faith in you that you will be able to play in the series. Rejecting that offer at this point of time, what changed in that in your selection, and now why would you reject the offer?
See, as I mentioned, the experience I had about what I should be doing in the future changed that. I never experienced that. I never thought of actually quitting, before the New Zealand series, definitely. And I'm very glad that the selectors repose faith in me, and I'm sure that they know that I can contribute to the success of Indian cricket. But saying that it is time for me to hear my inner voice, which I think is very critical and very crucial for me. And that's what I've done. I must say that they were surprised, and they were definitely not happy about that. But like the way I convinced my family, which was obviously a very difficult task, I convinced the chairman of selection committee and also the board president that this is what I am feeling at the moment, and I think I would be happy if they accept my decision. And I think I must say that with great reluctance, they've accepted the decision.
Laxman, is there any call from Mahendra Singh Dhoni as the captain and other members of the team?
Since morning, I think I had a lot of chats with all my teammates, and I think it's very, very emotional, and it was unbelievable the kind of love and affection they shared. And obviously they were surprised because they didn't expect that from me. Yeah, I was trying to get in touch with MS. Obviously, it's very difficult to reach him, as everyone knows. But saying that, it was very emotional. Last 4-5 hours, talking to all my colleagues with whom I've shared the best of my life and best of my career. But it's been really heartening to know that the kind of love, the kind of affection they've got towards me.
When you're watching the 281, what went through your mind?
When I watched the 281, what went through my mind is what a test match it was. What a test match it was, and how lucky I am to, and not only me, how lucky we all were to be part of history. And it's just whenever you watch that match, it always gives all of us a lot of inspiration, because for the only single fact that the way we bounce back from such a tough situation. So it always is and it will be very emotional whenever you watch the Calcutta Test match.
One second, sir.
Yeah, definitely there will be various opportunities for me to give back to the sport which has given me everything. Starting with contributing to Hyderabad cricket. Because of my international commitments, I've not really spent a lot of time with the Hyderabad cricketers. Wherever I got an opportunity, I actually spend time or share my experiences with them. Probably this domestic season will be the right time for me to actually play with them and share all my experiences with them, and probably achieve the dream which I still want to, is win the Ranji Trophy for Hyderabad. Yeah, as I mentioned, I'll definitely be playing for Hyderabad this year. The toughest bowler I faced was definitely Wasim Akram, for the variations he had and the skill he had, and he was the master of that variation. But saying that, international cricket gave me an opportunity to play the best bowlers world over, and that's the challenge which probably got the best out of me.
VVS, good evening.
Yeah, regarding the innings, any innings which help the team to win the game or save the game from dire straits always will be very close to me. And I've been very fortunate that during my career, I got an opportunity to play such important innings for the country. So I cannot really single out one inning, but there are a lot of innings which are close to me, a lot of matches which are really close to me, and I will definitely cherish all of them.
VVS, good evening. I know the 281 was almost definitive in many ways, but I just want to ask you, when the dust settles, maybe in 2 years' time, when you're done and really sitting in the balcony of your house sipping a coffee, where would you put the Durban knock of '96, in your heart?
See, as I mentioned, every knock which helps the team to win the game or save from tough situation is always close to me. So Durban was definitely one of those knocks, and I will definitely remember that knock, not only obviously for the contribution I had in that match, but the way we won that test match. winning the test match in South Africa, tough South Africa conditions, and Durban is supposed to be the toughest ground and toughest wicket to play on in South Africa, and winning in the fashion we did will be very memorable for me. I never regret the decisions which I take for the simple reason that I am clear that my conscience is clear, and I feel that God has been very kind and I have been given an opportunity to play and represent the country for 16 glorious years. We all love the game so much, and as I mentioned before, very few get the opportunity, very few get the privilege to represent the country for so long. You would never like to leave. You always love the game because that's what you're passionate about, and that passion actually drives you forward. But saying that, I will be very satisfied with the decision I've taken, and I'll definitely never regret that I've taken this decision. Right from the start of my career, there have been a lot of people who wrote negative about me, and there have been more number of people who actually were my well-wishers and talked positive about me. But if in a country like India, where cricket is more like a religion than actually a sport, if you try to satisfy each and everyone, it's next to impossible. And that is why I mentioned that I always followed my inner conscience. I always followed and did what is good for the team. And I felt that even in my exit, I think I'll be following and living the ideals for which I played the game, and that is to keep the team's needs ahead of my personal aspirations. So definitely those comments have definitely not probably allowed me to make decision. Definitely not. It was what I experienced during the last 3-4 days, which I've never experienced before. And as I mentioned, that every sportsman tells about that experience, and I have actually really experienced that personally. So definitely it's a conscious decision by me, saying that it's the right decision for me to move on. See, there are a lot of things which I'm passionate about. Definitely contributing back to the game is top on the list. The priority always is to share my experiences with the youngsters, which I used to do even before I announced my retirement. But the first priority for me would be to spend time with my family. I've hardly spent time with my family for so many years. So I think my immediate priority would be to spend time with my family, with my beautiful wife and my lovely kids.
In your 16 years of career, two things you missed. One was the World Cup. You could never play in a World Cup, and you could never captain a World Cup. 16 years career.
See, this is a time where I'm just cherishing my fabulous journey. During 16 years of this journey, there will be disappointments, there will be a lot of success. But at this moment, the moment where I'm actually announcing my retirement, I wouldn't really talk about the disappointments, but I would like to thank everyone that I got an opportunity to play for the country for so long. So I wouldn't really think about any disappointments I had in my career. what can I say? They are legends of the game, and I think it was my privilege and my honor to play not only along with Sachin, Rahul, but also Anil Kumble, Virender Sehwag, Saurav, and lot of other players with whom I played at the start of my career. All these players actually really inspired me for one single reason, that all of them had one single goal in their mind, which is to do well for the country and the progress of Indian cricket. So all these players were real role models, not only for me, but for the future generation also. I must say, and I must agree that I must have disappointed a lot of my well-wishers, starting with my family. I'm sure my family would have walked into this ground and would have loved watching me play my last test match for the country. But saying that, while there is disappointment, and I'm sincerely apologizing to all my well-wishers across the world, and more importantly in Hyderabad, that probably I'm not giving them an opportunity to see me for one last time, but saying that it's very important that I stick to what I believe, which is to give an opportunity to a youngster, and no better opportunity than against an inexperienced New Zealand bowling attack. So I feel that while I know that I'm disappointing a lot of my well-wishers and fans, I feel that I've taken the right decision in the interest of the game.
Laxman, talking about the future.
Recently, I played a game against Karnataka President's 11 in a tournament conducted by Karnataka State Cricket Association for Hyderabad team. I was really impressed with a lot of youngsters. I cannot really single out one youngster. I was impressed with a lot of youngsters, and I think the future of Hyderabad cricket, especially in the batting department, looks very positive. The way the Hyderabad team played last year in the domestic Ranji Trophy, the way a lot of youngsters contributed in some tough situation, and the way they promoted Hyderabad cricket back to the elite is a positive sign for the future of Hyderabad cricket. And I can say that there will be at least 2-3 cricketers, especially in the batting department, who in the near future will be knocking the national doors.
Talking about the future, Laxman, are there any plans to join your friends Kumble and Dravid into cricket administration? I'm sure the HCA would welcome you with open arms.
Yeah, my friends in Hyderabad, MV Sridhar, Venkatpati Raju, all of them are also doing an excellent job for the Hyderabad Cricket Association.
2 more good hands will do a lot.
See, it's too early for me to say. I'm not sure in what way I will contribute to Hyderabad cricket in the future. My immediate goal will be, and the most important goal would be, to share my experiences with the Hyderabad cricketers, play with them in the Ranji Trophy, share my experiences with them, and if I can do what my seniors did when I started playing for Hyderabad early on in my career, I'll be very happy. I learned a lot from my seniors who were present in this room while I was growing up. And if I can share some of my experiences, if I can help some of the youngsters to realize their potential, I will be very happy. I think now I'll have a lot of free time, and probably I will definitely be thinking on those lines. I would love to share my journey with all my well-wishers, all my fans, but I don't know when. But now that I will be having a lot of free time, I'll definitely start thinking about that. I think we all took a lot of pride in the way we played cricket for the country. We all had one single goal, one single ambition, that is to win matches consistently for the country, not only in India but overseas. And those efforts have been culminated into us being the #1 test playing nation of the world. And I'm sure our legacy will remain that we were a team which actually performed not only in India but abroad. And I've got no doubts the future of either Indian cricket, the future players of Indian cricket will take that legacy forward.
Well, gentlemen, before our emotions get the better of us, thank you so much, VVS Laxman, for giving us 16 years of a glorious career to the game of cricket and to all of us. What is Indian cricket's loss is to the benefit of Hyderabad cricket, and most of us will look forward to your contribution to the association and to the game. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.